Hey, today's blog is going to be stories about Uncle Milford. So, I had an uncle on my mom's side named Milford, and you know it? He would say the phrase, "you know it?" many times during the conversation. You know it? It's really hot outside, you know it? Back in the 60s, my dad decided to make an impression on Uncle Milford. He was a pilot in the Air Force, a fighter pilot and a test pilot. And he was flying over Kansas on a cross-country trip in an F-4 Phantom jet. I think they were made by McConnell Douglas, had twin engines, and those things, when you lit the afterburner on that, it made a roar of a noise. It was intimidating. So he decided to fly over Uncle Milford's farm, and he did, and he got down low, and he decided he was really going to impress him, and he was going to fly low and light the afterburners. So he did, and boy, he kind of left feeling, man, I bet I made Uncle Milford proud, because here his brother-in-law was flying in the Air Force in a massive jet. And anyway, when my dad came home, my mom greeted him, and the conversation went something like, "Boy, you're in trouble now. I wouldn't talk to Milford for a few months if I was you. He's hopping mad." Well, it turns out Uncle Milford and his sons, and they were emptying out some new calves they just received, and they were loading them out of a kind of a cattle trailer into the pen where the cattle were kept. And if you ever heard of cattle or any sort of herd animal being spooked, well, they were certainly spooked by the F-4 afterburners lighting full lit, and they stormed out of that gate and jumped over fences and broke fences, and they were probably having to go collect those cattle for hours into the night, maybe days, before they got them all back on their property. Back in the 70s, and this happened to a lot of small, medium-sized farmers, bankers came and offered loans. And, a lot of these farmers probably been dealing with these bankers on a handshake basis for years and years, decades. And, you need a new combine, Milford? You need a new John Deere tractor? Oh, you're an International Harvester guy. So a lot of these farmers took out loans in the 70s, and interest rates went through the roof. And so in the late 70s, the banks came calling, and they caused foreclosures and auctions. So my Uncle Milford's family farm went up on the auction block. And I'm told that my late cousin Dan, he was probably upset that some of his cattle, maybe steers, heifers, I don't know, some of his cattle got sold to people at the highest bid, and they didn't have the money to keep them cattle themselves. And you know how you can become attached to animals. Well, my poor cousin was busted on charges of cattle rustling. I think he went to go reclaim his cattle back, and he got caught doing it. And he didn't serve time. I don't know what ever happened with that. Uncle Milford didn't like firecrackers. He survived World War II. He served in the Pacific Theater, and he was in a unit that was whittled down to a lot fewer men than started out with. And so he didn't have fond memories of war, and explosive sounds like firecrackers probably triggered some memories that he didn't want to experience. You know it? It was on Uncle Milford's farm that I shot a hole in the moon with a BB gun. I was about 7 or 8 years old, and using my cousin Johnny's BB gun, I took aim at the moon, and my cousin swore, "Doug, you hit it! You shot a hole in the moon!" And they congratulated me, and I knew they were kidding and it wasn't possible, but still it made me feel really good. Yep, I consumed Rocky Mountain oysters and deer meat for the first time at Uncle Milford's farm. When I was older in high school, me and my cousins on Uncle Milford's farm, Johnny and Timmy and probably Dan, we were battling each other with bottle rockets. That's right, we were lighting those things and flinging them, and you snap your wrist and fling it, and the bottle rocket will take off and go in the direction you're pointed at, and some of those things buzz by your head pretty fast and pretty loud, kind of intimidating, pretty stupid, but hey. I once wrote a letter to my cousin Tim about finding Jesus. I just felt compelled to share the gospel with him, and I wrote him a letter and I told him, I've done a lot of fun things in my life. I've experienced victory on the football field, I've skydived, I've done this and that, but nothing compares to knowing Jesus, and the presence of his Holy Spirit is just amazing. I wanted to offer that to you and let you know it's free. And years later, I wondered what he thought about that letter. I never got a response back, and so years later I asked him about it. He goes, "You know what, Doug? That's one of my favorite letters in my entire life. Thank you." I think my cousin Tim would have liked my book Rock Stars on God Volume 3 with interviews from some of his favorite artists, one of whom is Kansas, who are from Kansas, and he was really proud of that band and the fact that they were homegrown Kansas musicians and a great band. So watch the commercial and join the discussion.
Rock stars on God, caught in the fire, searching for meaning in a world of desire. They sing of the heavens, they scream of the void. Rock stars on God, where do they belong?
By the way, that story of my dad flying the F4 over Uncle Milford's farm, that's part of a book my dad wrote called Flying Tales, which I have available in paperback and audiobook, read by the author himself, Larry Van Pelt. That's available at the hmpresssquare.site site. You can see the address there on the Rock Stars on God commercial.